Right, golf shop and liners, should we talk first tee nerves? Like, who hasn't got on the first tee at certain events and felt a little bit nervous? How do you deal with that? So first point, don't be worried if you're feeling that. It's a common thing that we've all felt and still feel at certain times, subject to how much we want what's about to happen. That's often what creates the most nerves. So how much do we want to not look silly off this first tee? How much do we want to do well in this event we're playing with? How well do we want to do? How much does it mean to us that we do well in front of the people we're playing with? Whatever it is, we'll all put these certain kind of things onto ourselves, which will then create anxiety and nerves when you get at the start of that situation, which is obviously the first tee for most of us. Now, I remember when I was competing full time, if I didn't feel nervous on the first tee, I didn't like it. It meant that it didn't mean anything to me. And if it didn't mean anything to me, it meant that I would not put the same commitment in, certainly if things started to go wrong, which in golf is a high percentage of the time. So over 50% of the time, it's not going to go how you want it to go. So by not having that desire, those nerves on the first tee, as soon as it goes wrong, it was hard for me to carry on fighting. So having first tee nerves, I think, can be a really positive thing if used to your advantage, accepting that that's because they give you a desire. And then the next thing that happens if you have first tee nerves is if you start hitting bad shots and those nerves don't really go through the round, that would give me a desire to go out and practice more. So it would actually give me a desire to keep going, keep playing, to want to improve. And that's one of the brilliant things with this game. How do you, nearly a line ball, hit those line balls more often? It makes me nervous that I can't do it. So it makes me practice it more to make sure I'm not nervous when I get into the performance arena, whatever that is for each individual player. So first tee nerves or nerves on the golf course can be a good thing, and you can use them to your advantage to try and work harder and fight. Now, the other way of dealing with first tee nerves is for lots of golfers, it's a bit of a fear of the unknown. Oh, I hope I don't do this. What if this happens? Like, you don't know what's going to come out, so it makes you a bit anxious. Like not knowing what's round a corner. If you're in your car and you're driving around a blind corner, hopefully you slow down because you'd be a bit nervous or silly just to plow around there because you might crash, and we're scared of these golf crashes. So the next thing you can do to help you with your first tee nerves stroke managing the crashes is try and be really good at understanding your patterns of shots. So I've got a dispersion pattern up here on my little map here on the left, and I can see with this iron I'm missing left and right relatively equal. One big left up there, a couple of short ones, and then majority of them are kind of middle to slightly right. So that allows me, if I was the first tee as a 7-iron shot into a green, that knowing of my pattern allows me to aim, which for me would be to take dead aim at the fattest part of that green, knowing that I can miss it a little bit left and right, hoping then I hit the green. If I haven't got that information, if you're stood on the first tee and you're not sure if your tee shot's going to hook or slice, they're things that can make you really anxious. So getting out there and working on one shape of shot, one pattern of shots, and having the knowledge of what each club does for these patterns will help you deal with those first tee nerves. That doesn't make you not hit bad shots. Don't be lots of people get thinking, oh, okay, if I do all these strategy ideas, then I'm going to be better because I won't hit as many bad shots. Well, you'll hit the same amount of bad shots. That pattern's going to stay the same. It's just that I'm going to try and make less of those balls in that little pattern go in the trouble by aiming in the appropriate place. And then in turn, that gets rid of some of the nerves, the anxiety, because I know the shape I'm going to get. I know the shot within reason or the distance I can hit into. And then if I can't hit into that distance, what I'll do is either work on shots to allow me to get the ball into those distances. Let's say you have a first tee shot where there's always trouble on the right and you miss it to the right. That's going to make me work harder on getting rid of that shot or aiming further left. The other thing I can do is I could use a sensible club. So some of my clubs never go right very often. They would tend to go straight to draw to a little bit to the left. So I might use those on those situations to try and calm the nerves down, calm the unknowns down. It's the self-awareness that will allow you to deal with first tee nerves and then hopefully start to enjoy them, help you push your game forwards. Hope this helps.